The chamber of the Galactic Council was filled with light and noise. Hundreds of species watched the great display wall as reports streamed in from the edge of known space. A massive war was coming. An ancient hostile force had returned, and every civilization was sending fleets to stop it. Ships counted in the thousands moved through hyperspace, each one built to show strength and fear. When the human report appeared, the chamber grew quiet for a moment, then laughter spread. The screen showed only one ship. No escort, no fleet. Just a single human vessel moving toward the conflict zone. Many delegates mocked the image. Some thought it was a mistake. Others believed humans had misunderstood the scale of the war. A few assumed it was a symbolic gesture, a way to save face before defeat. The louder voices declared that humanity would be erased within minutes. Humans were still new to the galaxy. They were known for bold words and strange choices, but no one believed they could stand against what was coming. The Council recorded the human action as foolish bravery at best and arrogance at worst, not far away from the Council chamber. The human ship moved in silence. It was not large by galactic standards. Its hull was smooth and dark, marked only by faint lines that hinted at layered design. Inside, the crew worked with calm focus. Captain Kong Taijin stood on the bridge, his posture relaxed but alert. He was not young and not old. His face showed years of responsibility rather than fear. He watched the stars slide past as the ship crossed into deeper space. At his side, Park Seo-jin monitored tactical data. Her voice was steady as she spoke, reporting sensor readings and distant energy movements. She did not sound worried. To her, this mission was serious, but not hopeless. In engineering, Han Yura moved between stations, checking systems that appeared simple on the surface. Many of the controls were quiet, almost dormant. She knew better. These systems were waiting, ready to wake when needed. The ship carried no decorations, no signs meant to impress outsiders. Everything inside had a purpose. Every space was built for efficiency and survival. The crew had trained together for years, preparing for a mission that most of the galaxy believed impossible. As the ship moved closer to the war zone, alien sensor networks began to track it. Reports spread quickly. The lone human ship became a topic of jokes and disbelief across many worlds. Media channels replayed its slow approach, calling it a lesson in human pride. Some alien commanders debated whether to destroy it early, just to remove the distraction. Others suggested capturing it to study human technology. Few believed it posed any threat. Captain Kong listened to the incoming signals without comment. He had heard worse in his life. He remembered the early days of humanity's space expansion, when humans were laughed at for building stations from old materials and repairing ships instead of replacing them. Back then, humans survived because they learned to adapt. He looked around the bridge at his crew. They did not cheer. They did not boast. They simply did their jobs. That quiet discipline was something Captain Kong trusted more than any fleet. The ship crossed a marked boundary, entering the outer edge of the conflict zone. The stars ahead were scarred by old battles. Broken ships and energy remains floated in the dark, silent evidence of failed defenses. Park Seo-jin reported multiple hostile signatures far ahead. Massive fleets were gathering, far larger than anything humans had ever faced. The numbers were overwhelming, even to trained eyes. Han Yura's voice came through the internal channel. All systems were stable. Adaptive cores were aligned. She did not explain further. She did not need to. The captain understood. The ship did not change course. It did not slow down. It continued forward at the same steady pace, as if the danger ahead did not exist. On alien worlds, observers watched in disbelief. The human ship did not hide. It did not request aid. It did not send messages of surrender. It simply moved forward, alone, Some in the council grew uneasy. Mockery faded into confusion. No species sent a single ship unless it carried something unusual. Still, pride kept many from voicing concern. Inside the ship, Captain Kong gave a simple order to prepare for contact. The crew acknowledged without drama. Lights shifted slightly as deeper systems began to warm. Unseen and unheard by outside sensors, the human ship approached the edge of enemy detection range. This was the point where most vessels would turn back or form defensive lines. This ship did neither. Captain Kong placed his hands behind his back and watched the dark ahead. Humanity had not sent one ship because they were weak. They sent one ship because they had learned a hard truth from centuries of survival. When resources are limited, when defeat seems certain, humans do not spread themselves thin. They focus everything into one effort, one tool, one chance. The galaxy continued to watch, still expecting failure. No one yet understood that this moment was not a mistake. It was a decision. The human ship continued forward, leaving behind the last safe boundary of known space. Alien sensors followed its path closely now. Data streams crossed thousands of worlds, showing the same image. One ship, no support, no retreat. To many observers, the ship still looked ordinary. Its shape was simple, almost old-fashioned. It did not shine with decorative energy fields or bright weapon ports. Compared to the massive alien warships nearby, it seemed small and fragile. Alien analysts argued over the readings. Some said the sensors were broken. Others claimed the humans were hiding something. A few insisted the ship truly was weak and that humans had finally made a fatal mistake. Inside the ship, the atmosphere was calm. The bridge lights were soft. Displays showed clean lines of data, not chaos. Captain Kang Taijin stood near the main screen, listening as Park Seojin spoke. She explained how enemy scans were passing over them again and again, failing to lock onto deeper systems. The ship appeared plain because it was meant to appear that way. Many of its most important functions were buried under layers of design that confused foreign technology. In engineering, Hanura watched numbers shift slowly upward. Power levels rose, but only in small steps. Nothing dramatic. Nothing that would draw attention. The ship was waking up in pieces, like a careful mind preparing for danger. The ship passed drifting wreckage from earlier battles. Broken alien vessels floated like dead giants. Some had once been considered unstoppable. Now they were silent, torn open by forces stronger than them. Captain Kong looked at the remains with steady eyes. He did not feel fear. He felt respect. Every wreck was a reminder of what happened to those who relied only on size and force. A memory surfaced in his mind. Long before humans met the galaxy, Earth had faced disasters that nearly ended them. Wars, plagues, starvation. Each time, humans survived not because they were strongest, but because they learned faster than their enemies. That lesson lived inside this ship. The crew moved with quiet purpose. No one wasted words. They trusted each other completely. Every person aboard knew that failure meant more than death. It meant proving the galaxy right. Alien fleets ahead shifted position. Some commanders ordered small units to intercept the human ship, not to stop it, but to test it. Probing attacks were common before major battles. Park Seojin reported the movement. Captain Kong nodded once. He did not order weapons to arm. He ordered the ship to observe. As the distance closed, alien drones moved into scanning range. Bright beams washed over the human hull. The ship did not react. Its surface absorbed, bent, and scattered the energy in ways alien sensors could not read. Confusion spread through enemy channels. Readings contradicted each other. Some showed the ship as hollow. Others showed mass far beyond its size. Hanura, adjusted internal fields with careful precision. The ship was learning. Every scan taught it more about alien methods. Every second made it better prepared. The first drone fired a warning shot. A narrow beam of energy crossed space and struck near the human ship. It should have damaged the hull. Instead, the energy slid away, redirected by unseen systems. The hull did not even glow. Observers across the galaxy fell silent. That single moment shattered many assumptions. The human ship was not defenseless. Still, many believed this was luck or special shielding. One trick did not win wars. The drones closed in, firing again. This time, the human ship moved. Its motion was smooth and sudden, not fast in the usual sense, but perfectly timed. The ship slipped between attacks as if it knew where they would be before they happened. Park Seojin guided the maneuvers with calm focus. She did not raise her voice. Her hands moved lightly across controls. Captain Kong watched the data. The ship was doing exactly what it was built to do. Not overpower. Not intimidate. Endure and adapt. One drone collided with debris, thrown off by the ship's movement. Another lost power, its systems confused by false signals. The human ship did not fire back. That choice puzzled alien commanders. They expected retaliation, violence. Instead, the human vessel continued forward, ignoring the drones like insects. Some took this as weakness and ordered heavier weapons to prepare. Others hesitated. Something about the ship felt wrong. Too calm. Too controlled. Inside the ship, no one celebrated. This was not victory. This was preparation. Han Yura reported that the adaptive systems had completed their first learning cycle. The ship now understood enemy targeting patterns far better than before. Captain Kong allowed himself a small breath. Everything was proceeding as planned. The ship reached a point where the main enemy fleet could no longer ignore it. Massive warships turned slowly, their weapons aligning. The scale of power facing the human ship was beyond reason. Across the galaxy, commentators returned to their earlier claims. The test was over. Now the real force would fall. Captain Kong looked at the stars ahead. Humanity had sent one ship not to show strength, but to show belief. Belief in preparation. Belief in learning. Belief that a single focused effort could change the course of history. The human ship moved forward, alone carrying that belief into the heart of the storm. The first true strike came without warning. A wave of heavy fire surged from the enemy fleet, bright lines cutting through space toward the human ship. This was no test. This was a decision to erase the lone vessel before it could reach the center of the battle. Across the galaxy, millions watched the attack in real time. Analysts spoke with certainty again. No ship could survive such force. The human story, they said, would end here. Inside the ship, alarms did not scream. They whispered. The bridge remained calm as systems shifted into deeper response. Captain Kang Taijin did not raise his voice. He gave one short command, and the ship answered. The first impacts never reached the hull. Invisible layers bent space around the vessel, pulling energy away, spreading it thin. Some shots curved off course. Others struck and vanished, as if swallowed. Park Seojin adjusted vectors with sharp focus. She had studied thousands of battle patterns. This enemy followed rules. Rules could be learned. Hanyura felt the ship change beneath her feet. The adaptive cores were fully awake now. They were not reacting anymore. They were predicting. Another barrage followed, stronger and wider. The human ship moved through it, not fast, but exact. Each motion was small and perfect. Attacks missed by meters, then by seconds, then by intention. Alien commanders grew angry. They ordered concentrated fire. Massive cannons charged, pulling energy from entire ships. The space around them glowed with power. This time, the human ship responded, A low pulse spread outward, silent and invisible. It did not destroy. It disrupted. Enemy targeting systems flickered. Communication links failed. Fleet coordination fractured in seconds. Across the enemy formation, confusion spread. Ships hesitated. Some fired too late. Others fired at nothing. Observers gasped. This was not brute force. This was control. Captain Kong watched the data flow across the screen. Humanity had never been the strongest species, but they had learned how to break strength apart. A small group of enemy ships pushed forward, ignoring the disruption. They fired at close range, determined to end the fight through sheer will. The human ship turned to face them. For the first time, weapons ports opened along its hull. They were few, simple, almost plain. Park Seogen authorized limited response. Thin beams struck the approaching ships. Not explosive, not dramatic. The beams targeted weak points learned moments earlier. Power cores destabilized. Engines shut down. One by one, enemy ships drifted, alive but helpless. The galaxy watched in stunned silence. The human ship did not chase fleeing enemies. It did not press advantage. It returned to its forward path, as if the battle behind it no longer mattered. Alien leaders argued. Some demanded retreat. Others demanded escalation. Pride clashed with fear. Han Yura reported that the ship's systems had completed another learning cycle. Enemy weapons were now fully mapped. Future attacks would be even less effective. Captain Kong nodded. He felt the weight of attention pressing in from every direction. Humanity was no longer a joke. Another fleet moved to block the ship's path, larger than the first. Their formation was tighter. Their weapons were charged from the start. This time, the human ship did not wait. It sent out a wide signal, simple and clear. A message, not a threat. It stated that the ship would pass. Resistance would result in disablement. No destruction was desired. The message shocked listeners more than any weapon. Humans were offering mercy in the middle of a war. Some alien commanders laughed and ordered fire. The result was swift. Enemy ships found their systems turning against them. Shields locked. Weapons refused commands. Navigation failed. Entire lines of ships went dark without explosions or death. Across the galaxy, analysts struggled to explain what they were seeing. One ship was breaking fleets without killing them. Captain Kong remained still. This was not kindness. This was purpose. Humanity needed the galaxy to see the difference. The ship continued forward, now surrounded by drifting enemy vessels. None could stop it. None could follow. On the bridge, Park Seogen allowed herself a brief smile. Not of pride, but of relief. The ship was working. The plan was real. Han Yura leaned against the console, steadying her breath. Years of design and sacrifice were proving their worth. Far away, the Galactic Council chamber was silent. No one laughed now. No one spoke. The human ship approached the heart of the conflict zone, untouched, unbroken. The galaxy began to understand a new truth. This was not a warning. This was arrival. The human ship moved deeper into the conflict zone, where space itself seemed wounded. Energy storms twisted between shattered fleets. Signals overlapped and screamed across every channel. This was the place where entire armadas had failed. Alien commanders watched with growing fear as the lone vessel advanced. They no longer mocked it. They studied it like a living force, trying to understand how it kept moving when so many others had fallen. Inside the ship, the pressure increased. Systems ran at levels never tested in real battle. The air felt heavier, not from danger, but from effort. The ship was carrying the weight of humanity's hope. Captain Kong Taijin stood firm on the bridge. His eyes moved between screens, reading patterns others could not see. He understood now that the enemy was not just a fleet. It was a way of war built on fear and numbers. Humans had never fought that way. Park Seojin reported a new threat forming ahead. A massive enemy command structure, protected by layers of ships and weapons, controlled the entire assault. If it fell, the hostile force would collapse. Many species had tried to reach it. None had returned. The human ship did not slow. Han Yura warned that the next phase would push the ship beyond safe margins. Adaptive systems could fail if overloaded. There were no guarantees anymore. Captain Kong listened, then gave a quiet response. Humanity had never waited for guarantees. The ship entered the outer defense ring. Enemy fire intensified. Space burned with light. Even with its advanced defenses, the human ship began to feel strain. Energy reserves dropped. Internal structures vibrated under constant pressure. For the first time, the ship took damage. Not severe, but real. A section of the outer hull cracked. Internal repair systems activated at once, sealing and reinforcing the breach. Across the galaxy, observers leaned forward. Proof at last that the ship could bleed. Inside, no one panicked. Damage was expected. It was planned for. Park Seojin adjusted tactics. The ship shifted from avoidance to engagement. It no longer slipped past attacks. It absorbed them, learned from them, and responded with precision. Han Yura released deeper system controls. Parts of the ship that had never been active before came online. Power flowed through hidden pathways, reshaping internal structure on the fly. The ship changed. Its movements became heavier, more grounded. It stopped behaving like a scout and began to act like a fortress. Enemy ships closed in, confident that the human vessel was weakening. They moved into tight formations, preparing to crush it with massed fire. That was their mistake. A powerful field expanded outward from the human ship. Not an explosion, but a pressure wave that bent space itself. Enemy formations lost cohesion. Ships collided. Weapons SciFi HFY. Captain Kong watched the collapse unfold. Humans had learned long ago that strength did not always mean force. Sometimes it meant knowing when to stand still. The ship held position at the center of chaos, drawing enemy fire away from allied fleets scattered across the battlefield. Other species began to recover, regrouping behind the human vessel's shadow. Alien commanders realized too late what was happening. The human ship was not just fighting for itself. It was changing the flow of the entire war. Messages flooded the ship. Requests for coordination. Requests for protection. Requests for leadership. Captain Kong allowed limited communication. Short instructions. Clear priorities. No speeches. No pride. Han Yura struggled to keep systems balanced. The adaptive cores were pushing limits, rewriting themselves faster than ever before. Failure was still possible. Park Seojin noticed a pattern in enemy fire. A rhythm. A hesitation. She shared it with the captain. Captain Kong understood at once. The enemy command structure was reacting, not directing. It was afraid. The human ship surged forward again, using the brief opening. Defenses strained. Energy reserves dipped into emergency levels. Another hit struck the hull, deeper this time. Internal gravity flickered. Several crew members fell, then steadied themselves. Still, no one broke. The ship reached the inner defense ring. The enemy command structure loomed ahead, vast and armored, surrounded by desperate defenders. Across the galaxy, hope and fear mixed. The outcome of the war now rested on one ship and the people inside it. Captain Kong gave the final preparation order. This was the moment humanity had built toward. The galaxy held its breath as the human ship moved into the heart of the storm. The enemy command structure filled the view ahead, vast and cold, layered with armor and surrounded by desperate defenders. It had ruled the battle through fear and numbers, crushing fleets without mercy. Now it faced one ship that refused to stop. Inside the human vessel, power levels dropped into the final reserve. Lights dimmed across the bridge. The ship felt tired, like a living thing that had run too far, yet still stood. Captain Kong Taijin remained steady. He knew this moment would decide more than a single war. It would decide how the galaxy remembered humanity. Park Seojin reported that enemy defenses were focusing fully on them. Every weapon, every system, every remaining ship was turning inward. The pressure was immense. Han Yura's voice carried strain, but not fear. She confirmed that the adaptive cores were at their limit. They could support one final push. After that, nothing was certain. Captain Kong nodded once. He gave the order. The human ship advanced straight toward the command structure, not dodging, not hiding. Enemy fire struck again and again. Shields flickered. The hull groaned. Internal systems sparked and repaired themselves in seconds. Across the galaxy, viewers watched in silence. This was no longer a spectacle. It was a trial. As the distance closed, the human ship released everything it had learned. Signals spread outward, precise and controlled. Enemy coordination shattered completely. Defensive layers turned blind. Weapons locked in useless loops. The command structure attempted to respond, shifting power and calling for reinforcements that would never arrive. Its strength depended on control, and that control was gone. The human ship reached optimal range. Park Seojin authorized the final action. It was not a weapon meant to destroy worlds. It was a focused strike, built to end battles without erasing lives. A deep pulse surged forward, targeting the core systems of the command structure. The structure resisted for seconds that felt like hours. Then it failed. Lights across the massive enemy construct went dark. Power collapsed inward. Control systems shut down. The heart of the hostile force went silent. Across the battlefield, enemy ships froze. Without direction, without unity, they drifted or powered down. The war ended not with an explosion, but with stillness. For a long moment, no one spoke. Inside the human ship, crew members leaned against consoles, breathing hard. Some sat where they stood. Others closed their eyes in quiet relief. Han Yura reported critical damage across multiple systems, but the ship was stable. Barely. Captain Kong allowed himself to sit. His hands trembled once, then steadied. The mission was complete. Messages flooded in from every direction. Allied fleets expressed disbelief, gratitude, and awe. Species that had once mocked humanity now asked questions, not with pride, but with respect. The Galactic Council reconvened in silence. No laughter echoed through the chamber this time. The record would show that when the galaxy faced its greatest threat, one human ship had changed the outcome. Captain Kong authorized a short broadcast. His voice was calm and clear. He stated that humanity did not seek rule or fear. Humans had learned through history that survival came from cooperation, learning, and standing firm when retreat was easier. He said humans sent one ship because they believed focus mattered more than numbers. Because they believed preparation mattered more than pride. And because they believed the galaxy was worth saving. The message ended without ceremony. As the human ship turned away from the silent battlefield. Repair systems worked tirelessly to keep it together. It moved slowly now, wounded but unbroken. Across alien worlds, perspectives shifted. Humanity was no longer seen as loud newcomers or reckless risk-takers. They were seen as builders, learners, and protectors who acted only when it mattered most. Park Seojin watched the stars drift by. She felt no triumph, only calm. This was what they had trained for. Han Yura smiled faintly as systems stabilized. The ship had survived because humans had built it together. Across generations, each adding something small and necessary. Captain Kong stood once more and looked ahead. He knew this victory would change alliances, politics, and future wars. But he also knew humanity would face new challenges soon. That was the way of progress. The human ship exited the conflict zone, leaving behind a galaxy that would never forget the day it mocked one ship, because that ship arrived and everything changed.